Those old pests who don't do housework should just leave, you know? The eldest son's wife tried to drive us out of the house with that remark. We had reached our limit and made a decision. So, shall we move out now? Because my husband said that, I agreed too. The next day, as we were relaxing in a hotel, we received a barrage of calls from the eldest son's wife. But we no longer felt obliged to pick up. It kept ringing, which was annoying, so I blocked the calls. My name is Emily, a 58-year-old housewife. I've been married to my husband for 34 years. We have a son and a daughter, both of whom have grown up and are now working professionals. Our daughter is 30 and our son is 27. Our daughter is already married, has her own family, and is busy raising a 3-year-old boy. She brings our grandson to visit regularly, and he's so adorable, providing us with much joy. On the other hand, our son, Tom, had been working hard since graduating from college, but due to workplace harassment from his boss, he quit his job and returned to our home for a while. He took about a year off for recovery and is currently working part-time. We considered letting him live alone, but we were worried he might relapse. And even though he's part-timing, we hope he can save up for the future, so we allow him to live at home. Our eldest son looked really distressed when he was suffering from the harassment, but now he's smiling more, and both my husband and I are relieved. He looks so happy playing with the nephew our daughter brings over. We think he'll be a great father when he has his own children. As I was thinking about all this, our eldest son informed us that he was offered a full-time position at his part-time job. Well, the salary isn't much different from when I was part-timing, but the benefits are much better. That's good to hear. Don't push yourself too hard. Even if you become a full-time employee, you'll continue to live here, right? Well, actually, I have a girlfriend and we're thinking of moving in together. What? We were shocked as our eldest son suddenly mentioned this. He had never talked about having a girlfriend before. Is that so? If that's what you want, I think it's fine. Yeah, Tom should be okay now. He's only 27 and this is probably the most enjoyable time of his life, so he should enjoy both love and work. Thank you, Dad and Mom. And so our eldest son moved out of our home and started living with his girlfriend. Since then, he visits us regularly and always seems happy, sharing stories of his life with her. We were happy to see him, who had been through a lot, finally find happiness. And after 2 years of dating, he decided to marry her. Both my husband and I were overjoyed when we heard the news of their marriage. They told us they would soon come to give their formal marriage greetings, so we eagerly awaited the chance to meet our son's fiancée. A week after hearing about the engagement, our eldest son came with his fiancée. Nice to meet you, my name is Catherine. Catherine had a refined aura about her and was truly charming. Thank you for coming. We have some delicious snacks. Let's all enjoy them together. Wow, thank you so much. She had a wonderful smile and gave a bright, positive impression. We all chatted happily and asked the couple various questions about their relationship. Tom and Catherine met at work, and apparently they were colleagues who joined the company at the same time. We were of the same age and joined the company at the same time, so I felt a connection and we talked a lot. We started dating quickly, and when I became a full-time employee, that became the trigger for us to move in together. Why did you decide to get married? I think a big reason is that I wanted to get married in my 20s. I also want children. Tom always shows me pictures of his nephew, you know? Oh, really? The discussion about the marriage proceeded in a friendly atmosphere. Catherine seemed like a good person, and I felt relieved. After Tom and Catherine left, I talked to my husband, and he also had a good impression of her. However, we never imagined at that time that she might be hiding an unthinkable true nature. Later on, after both families met, Tom and Catherine got married. While we were still immersed in the afterglow of the wedding ceremony, we heard some concerning news. It was about Catherine quitting her job. According to Tom, even though he became a full-time employee, his salary wasn't much different from when he was a part-timer. So it would probably be challenging to support the living expenses for two adults with that salary. However, it seemed that becoming a full-time housewife was Catherine's dream. Hearing this from Tom, neither my husband nor I felt we could say much against it. Well, if both of you are okay with it, then it's fine, but Tom, just make sure you don't overdo it, okay? Remember, you once suffered mentally from pushing yourself too hard. I know, I'll make sure to consult if anything happens. We were quite concerned, but we decided to trust our eldest son for the time being. A year has passed since then. Our eldest son would return home for the Obon Festival and New Year holidays, but his wife never came. My husband and I didn't want to force her to come, but we wished she would show up with our son at least once. According to our eldest son, his wife prioritizes going to her own parents' home and shows no intention of visiting us. Is she taking care of the household properly? Yeah, well, but most of the meals are hastily prepared. I'm grateful that she prepares something, but I was a bit taken aback when I saw many empty boxes from store-bought side dishes in the trash. What's more, she hides it and says, I worked hard and cooked a lot today. So I couldn't point out that she just transferred the store-bought side dishes to plates. Oh, is that so? If it's just store-bought side dishes, I'd be concerned about the salt content, and it would also be more expensive. It's not like your salary has increased or anything, right? No, not really. I'm doing overtime to try and increase it a bit. Then wouldn't it become as challenging as it was in the past? No, but unlike before, I don't have any mean superiors, and it's a good work environment, so I guess that's okay. Though continuous overtime does physically drain me. I see. My husband and I were very worried. Could you at least ask her to show her face here once? I want to have a proper conversation with her. Understood. I'll bring her next time. About 2 weeks later, Tom brought Catherine home. It had been more than a year since we last met her at their wedding. My husband and I were surprised to see Catherine after such a long time. She looked completely different from the modest demeanor she had before marriage, with brightly dyed hair and flashy makeup. Moreover, her clothes were flashy and seemed expensive. I wondered where they were getting that kind of money. It's been a while, Catherine. Yes, long time no see. Catherine seemed less friendly than before. Thank you for coming today. It's nothing. We all had a conversation while eating the meal I prepared. How's married life? It's been a year. Any challenges? Not really. Well, I wish Tom would earn a bit more though. Both my husband and I frowned upon hearing such a remark from Catherine right off the bat. Catherine, you're young, so I think it would be good if you could work and contribute to the income too. When I said that, Catherine sighed. I got married because I wanted to be a full-time housewife, and it's not like I'm living extravagantly or anything. Is that so? Those clothes of yours look expensive though. It's not that much really. I see. Although she said so, she didn't disclose the actual price. In the end, we couldn't get much information and she didn't seem to consider our opinions. And then Tom and Catherine left. A few months later, we received a call from Tom. Hello, Tom. It's been a while. Have you been well since then? Sorry, Mom. I've been feeling a bit under the weather. What? Are you okay? Turns out I need to be hospitalized. Shockingly, Tom had become malnourished and needed hospitalization. When my husband and I saw him, after a long time, he looked extremely frail and pale. How did this happen? The thing is, Catherine lost money in investments and we got into debt. To make up for that, I worked long overtime hours daily and it affected my health. Because the debt was significant, Catherine reduced the amount of food we had. Oh no! I can't believe Tom and Catherine's situation has gotten this bad in just a few months. Hi, mother-in-law, father-in-law. Catherine. Catherine seemed to have left the room briefly and returned shortly after we arrived for the visit. But she didn't have the flashy appearance from before. Her hair was back to black and her clothes were subdued. You've been through a lot. I'm sorry I made Tom go through so much. Catherine seems genuinely remorseful. What are you going to do now? If you keep pushing yourself to the point of hospitalization, you might eventually lose your life. Mom, Dad, I have a favor to ask. Can we live with you at home until we finish repaying the debt? I also humbly ask this of you. Tom, Catherine, my husband and I had no other option. Tom's life was at risk, so we permitted them to live with us, and they began living together after Tom was discharged from the hospital. Tom made sure not to overwork and came home on time every day, and Catherine began working part-time to repay the debt. However, it seemed like it would take a long time to repay the debt completely. This was because the debt Catherine had accumulated amounted to $33,000. Hearing that figure, my husband and I were shocked. It would probably be difficult for just Tom and Catherine to repay the debt. Therefore, we decided to give them $2,500 every month to help with the repayments. This way, they could repay it in about 2 years, and we hoped they would save up some money during that time. However, we would later realize that this was a mistake on our part. About 2 months after giving money to Tom and Catherine, Catherine quit her part-time job first. Huh? What happened, Catherine? Weren't you supposed to be at your part-time job today? I quit. It was kind of tiring. What? Catherine, my son's wife, would just laze around at home all the time. When I mentioned this to Tom, he seemed very awkward about it. I've tried talking to her about it. She says she feels sick, but she told me she'd try to save money in exchange and ask for my understanding. You're kidding. My husband and I were not convinced. But if we kick them out now, Tom would have a hard time again. However, Catherine became more and more brazen, using a lot of the groceries we had stoked up, eating snacks on her own, and not listening when I admonished her. Amidst all this, I fell down the stairs and hurt my back. I needed regular doctor visits, making me unable to do household chores. Catherine, I'm sorry to ask, but could you help with the housework? See, it's a good thing I've been staying at home, isn't it? Catherine said with a tone implying she was doing us a favor. Housework is so tedious. It's such a hassle with an old lady around who doesn't do anything. Throughout the day, she kept saying such things, pushing me to my mental limits. Catherine, it seems like you're saying some harsh things to my wife. She's hurt her back and can't do household chores, so please don't be too hard on her. My husband spoke to Catherine in that manner, concerned about me. But Catherine lashed out at my husband too. You will be retiring soon and will be home all the time, right? Yet he doesn't do any housework, does he? You lecture me even though you don't do anything around the house. Could you please not? By the way, this house will eventually become Tom's, won't it? So why don't you leave already? What? I'm saying old folks who don't do chores should get out. Catherine tried to kick us out of our own house. We had reached our limit and made a decision. Let's move out right now then. When my husband said that, I agreed. We quickly started packing our things. Just then, Tom, who had finished his work, came home. What? Mom, what are you guys doing? We're leaving this place. What do you mean? Asked Catherine. Catherine, what's going on? I just said that since you all blame me, those who don't do chores should leave. What are you talking about? This is my parents' house. But eventually it will be your house, right? So it's okay if just the two of us live here, isn't it? Well, what are you saying? Catherine kept spouting nonsensical arguments, and the conversation wasn't getting anywhere. My husband and I didn't want to deal with her anymore. So we packed up some essentials and left the house. We rented a room in a business hotel and decided to spend some quality time together, planning to search for a new place tomorrow. The next day, as we were relaxing in the hotel, we received numerous calls from Catherine. Why is she calling us so much? Isn't it the beginning of the month today? Oh, that makes sense. The start of the month is when we usually give money to Tom and Catherine. She probably called to remind us about it, but we no longer felt obligated to do so. I adjusted some settings on my smartphone and put it in my bag. It suddenly stopped ringing. I got tired of it ringing constantly, so I blocked her. Hearing this, my husband laughed. Should we go look for a room then? Yes, let's. We had actually been planning to sell that house soon anyway. The house was quite old, and we had been considering moving to a more manageable sized apartment suitable for the two of us in our retirement years. All that happened was that the timing got accelerated because of Catherine. We found a nice apartment near where our eldest daughter's family lived. After viewing the place and finding it very comfortable, we quickly signed a contract. We then contacted Tom at a time when Catherine wasn't around and went to retrieve our remaining belongings. During this, we had a proper conversation with Tom. We informed him about our decision to sell the house and that we wouldn't be involved with Catherine anymore. We also told him that we couldn't provide financial support and that if he didn't want to face further hardships, he should consider divorcing Catherine. Tom seemed to have finally made up his mind due to this incident and seemed determined to break up with Catherine. He packed his things and left the house with us. For now, he stored his stuff in our new place and planned to rent a room for himself. Apparently, Catherine found the divorce papers we left in the empty house, and she bombarded Tom with angry calls. When he answered, he told her, "I don't want to trouble my parents any further, and I don't want to suffer because of your debts." It seems he informed her about his decision to get a divorce. After that, he hired a lawyer and initiated divorce proceedings. Catherine couldn't afford the legal fees, so she reluctantly agreed to the divorce. Of course, since the house was up for sale, we asked Catherine to leave immediately. However, she made another mess afterward. It seems she returned to her parents' home and lied to them. Believing her, her parents confronted Tom at his workplace. He calmly explained the reasons for the divorce and her debt issues. He also revealed that we had been giving her $2,500 monthly to help with her debts. Her parents, shocked and ashamed, apologized to Tom and later contacted us to apologize as well. We later met them in person and they returned the money we had given over the months. We will keep an eye on our good-for-nothing daughter and make sure she repays her debts. I deeply apologize for the disgraceful actions. The parents apologized sincerely. We felt sorry that such diligent parents raised such a child, but we were truly relieved that we got our money back. Catherine seems to be working from dawn to dusk under the watchful eyes of her parents to repay the debts. Now that Tom is free from debt, he has rented a place for himself and started living alone. He's been working hard and he recently got a promotion. My husband and I are living comfortably in our new home, and our eldest daughter, who lives nearby, often brings her children over for visits. We are much closer to our eldest daughter's family than before, and the thought of watching our grandchildren grow up right before our eyes fills us with joy. We hope to live happy days ahead, maintaining close ties with our family.